I was happy to miss the Cowboys pick. I gotta say that. What a disaster. The whole organization. I am disappointed. Let's not start with disappointed. First of all, penalties. You've heard me say it over and over and over and over and over again. You can sometimes win in this league with very little talent if you have good discipline, but you can never win without discipline. And I'm so disappointed in the fans. I'm disappointed in Dak. I'm disappointed in Skip Bayless. I'm this referee. This is a bunch of bullshit. First of all, the umpire has to touch the ball. Everybody knows that. Somebody should have ran over and handed the ball to the umpire, which should have been Dak, right? Dak's got the ball, right? That's first and foremost. Then we got to go to you ran up the middle. They gave you the middle for a reason. That's football 101. Everybody knows that, maybe 102, but everybody knows that's a basic class. They gave you the middle because they figured you couldn't get a playoff. So there's that whole thing in on top of it. But you had 100 yards, over 100 yards in penalties for the whole game, and you don't think that had anything to do with you losing? Bullshit. So this begs the question. Despite the success they had during the regular season, we know that's talent. Does Jerry Jones take a look at Mike McCarthy and think about replacing him?
I think there has to be serious consideration. Will it actually happen? It sounds like probably not. We know how long Jerry Jones kept a hold of, can't even remember his name now, Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett, yeah.
Kept a hold of Jason Garrett forever when they were just mediocre for a lot of years, and disappointing for a lot of years when they had talented teams. And, we talk about, this game, they had 14 penalties, the Cowboys did. But if you look back across the entire season, they got penalties all year. Penalties cost them a couple of big games through the season. And so it's a pattern, right? It's a pattern. You look back at the Packers, Mike McCarthy days. It was some of the same stuff that held those Aaron Rodgers teams back. Some mental mistakes by the team, and when that's a pattern like that, that has to drop on the coach. And also with his hand in the offensive play calling, he also has to be faulted for the decision to do what they did at the end of the game. So I think there should be serious consideration. Do I think it'll happen? No, but he should be somebody that gets replaced this offseason, in my opinion.
See, I kind of disagree. You have a lot of issues to work with, but this was only his second season with the Cowboys. They doubled their win total from the previous season. I know there was an extra game in there, but they went 12-5 in the regular season. The year before that, they were 6-10. This has been the best Cowboys season since 2016 when they went 13-3, in which they lost to the Packers in the divisional playoffs that year. So you doubled your wins, although you had a pretty poor showing in the playoffs this year. A lot of things need to be cleaned up. I think 3 years, especially when you make a big leap, but you win twice as many games between year 1 and 2. The third year is definitely a make or break year. And unfortunately for McCarthy, Dan Quinn's going to be gone, which he completely turned that defense around. I would assume he's going to take over a head coaching position somewhere in the league. So that's a massive hole that McCarthy's going to have to fill. And then there's even rumors that Kellen Moore's going to be gone. That's your OC, who's been doing a pretty good job. So you're probably going to lose your 2 hot coordinators, and that's not going to look good for McCarthy. He's going to have to bring in some guys that really know what they're doing, and we're really going to see just how good of a head coach Mike McCarthy is this next coming season. I don't anticipate the Cowboys to be as good as they were this year, so next year he probably will get fired. But I do think that given the win total doubling between year 1 and 2, he at least deserves a year 3.
That's fair enough. I agree with both of you. And you both, to go back to what Hefe was saying, you know how I feel about penalties. That's why Jim Caldwell and Norv Turner, these guys are some of the most brilliant minds in football, but they were horrible head coaches. And it was simply because of the defense. They just had, the discipline. They had no control over what was going on, and they were filled with penalties. On the flip side, you have guys like Parcells and Belichick and the guys coming out of their tree, Brian Flores. that it's all discipline. They established that from the very beginning. So to Hefe's point, looking ahead, somebody that wants to see that ahead would see that this isn't going anywhere. And it kind of gets in to your point, Zach. Give the guy a chance because he did turn some things around, but it was pure talent. And when Quinn and Moore go, and you mix that with these penalties, you're probably not probably right. They won't be as good as this year. My point, when I'm looking at this from my point, not Jerry Jones's point, but from my point, the Cowboys, anything less than the Cowboys not going to the Super Bowl was a failure with this team. They're so talented. I ragged on them early in the season, but they were explosive. The defense got better. Dan Quinn got the defense shaped up. And by all rights, they were easily one of the top 4 teams that should have been if things were going well. And you have to ask, with a better coach, it's the whole Tony Dungy thing. Tony Dungy won. Would the Colts have been better with a different coach? I don't know the answer to that. We'll never know the answer. I don't want to debate. But I'm not sure that McCarthy is going to get this done with this talent. So if by all rights, he probably will let him come back for that reason, because it's the right thing to do. I will agree with that too. I mean, the guy, right? I mean, you've got an improved record. You fell short. Okay, I'll give you one more chance. It's kind of the human thing to do. But on the other hand, I'm afraid that they're squandering talent, where if they brought somebody in, and it's the whole Tony Dungy to Chucky thing. Tony Dungy wasn't getting done in Tampa, and next thing you know, Chucky came in and pushed them over the edge, kind of Larry Bird to Indiana thing. They were right there on the precipice, and Larry Bird came in, and something about it kind of pushed them over the edge. Show my age, that's back before Malice in the Palace, but it's that mentality. The other thing that I want to throw in here, and this is a friend of mine said this to me today, and I've been thinking about it all day, and I think he's right. There aren't many top quality coaches that'll come in and put up a Jerry Jones' shit. And, a guy like Bill Belichick isn't going to go coach for Jones. I don't even know that Brian Flores would go coach for Jones. You know what I mean? So it takes a special kind of person to come in and just, because they're a puppet. Jerry Jones is making a lot of decisions in that organization, and they haven't been the same. Jimmy Johnson put up with it for a couple of years, and then he couldn't take it anymore. He had to go, and that was back, that was 27 years ago. So I don't know, man. I think that's why Jason Garrett stayed around so long, because he absolutely did everything he was told to do. So they got a mess in Dallas, and as much crap as we give Dallas fans, I really feel sorry for them, because this very well could have. Every year they say this is the year, and we tease them about that. This should have been the year, and but it pisses me off they're blaming the referees, because they need to go back to Mike McCarthy, back to what Hefe said. This is the buck stops at the coaching staff. There ain't no doubt about that. So that's my 2 cents.